IAA is what you could call the Department of Aboriginal Affairs. It would have once been called the Department of Aboriginal Affairs. It's now called the National Indigenous Australians Agency, but it is effectively the major organisation that advises the minister, and it dispenses funds. So it is in fact the voice. And if you read its website, you can see that it has agencies right down to the grassroots in Aboriginal communities. It's already doing what this voice is purported to do.
Mm. You just cited Justice Nicholas Hasluck from Western Australia. One of the other citations in the No case is by an absolutely superb judge, Ian Callanan. Ian Callanan on the High Court of Australia. If there was an originalist judge on the High Court of Australia, in the American sense, like Justice Thomas, the black judge on the Supreme Court of the United States at the present time, an originalist judge meaning looking at the Constitution as the people who approved it originally, as the founders approved it, with the intention that they had, the meaning that they had, not putting in some modern meaning into the words of the Constitution, choosing the originalist meaning of the text of the words of the Constitution. And he is quoted too, I notice, on the No case. I know that reading the No case can get you into trouble, because I heard on 2GB when the interviewer was reading something to the Prime Minister, he said, "Oh, you're just reading the No case," which the interviewer said, "No, I was not reading it. I'd written it out myself." But Ian Callanan, former Justice of the High Court of Australia, a Queenslander, and a great originalist, that is to say, he looks at the original meaning of the Constitution. He's probably been the most federalist of any of our judges in the life of the Commonwealth. He said that this voice will produce a decade or more, not just a decade or more, of constitutional and administrative law litigation. In other words, he's saying this will be a lawyer's picnic. A lawyer's picnic is bad enough, because the lawyers, knowing this myself, being a law teacher and having practiced law, the lawyers will be very expensive. But the worst thing about lawyers going into the governance of Australia, as I understand it, is this: it will stop the government of Australia. It will make the country ungovernable, because everything will be held up by continuous litigation. Now, this seems to me, Peter, what Ian Callanan, who's a man who knows what he's talking about, is talking about in relation to the voice. What do you think?
David, I agree with you. Justice Callanan is the most impressive of the former jurists who've made comment on the voice, and his argument is unarguable. To put it, he points out that this voice is supposed only to give advice, and the people who are serious proponents of it, such as Chris Kenny, always say this voice can only give advice. Now, I've asked, if that's the case, why does the referendum amendment not contain a caveat to that effect? If that's what they really want to happen, that it should be advisory only, why is there no caveat that specifies that? And that would sort of put the argument to bed. I don't think it would dispel the concerns that Justice Callanan has, but it would go part of a way to blunting the No campaign. But rather than using the word advice, the question says making representations. Now, representations can be demands, and they will be demands. This will not be, and the activists have already told us this is not just about advice. It's about treaty and reparations and truth telling and all the rest of it. So